outside it's better to do it in English. And I come from computer science department, so my background is on technology, but in my PhD and afterwards I moved to education or educational technology, so that's why I'm here today to talk a little bit about how to manage with technology, how to analyze technology, and find out what you can do with technology, especially if it is a tool that you don't know. It's the first time you see it. So I have found some material from you, and hopefully we're going to do a few activities today that will help you jumpstart your project. I know that you're going to receive some technological tools that you don't know about, and then you have to use these tools in an educational context. So hopefully the presentation today will give you some ideas or a method how to start creating ideas and how to use the tools. So let's say that the title of the presentation is like how affordances of technology affect the learning experience. In the first part, I'm going to talk about what I'm going to teach you, what I'm going to present you today. And it's a little bit about collaborative learning and a lot about what affordance is and how, what do we mean by affordances. And the second part will be a paper overview. I have already given some material for you online, but I have found some more. So I think it would be good for you if we put everything online, suggested reading, and then you can figure out what's more helpful for you. And the last part of today's lecture is going to be the activity where hopefully you're going to analyze part of the project that you have to do for this course. So the first thing that you're expected to know after these 2 hours is to understand the basic concepts behind CSL. CSL stands for Computer Supported Collaborative Learning, and this quite famous acronym right now is one of the hottest topics in educational technology because it combines psychology, technology, and pedagogy, and very high-end technology right now, especially, for example, we can talk about intelligence, CSCL, and about conversational agents and stuff like that. What is a collaboration script? I'm going to talk a little bit about that. I don't know if you have seen the term before. It's about the Swiss protocol, which is, I think, something nice and very useful when you're trying to design a learning activity. The second learning objective is for you to be able to analyze technology according to the technical and the perceived affordances. We're going to talk a little bit about that, how we're going to analyze a tool that we've never seen before. The third part is about linking the educational needs that you're going to have in your activity, the activity that you're going to design, and the tools that you're going to receive. And finally, to apply a method for designing a learning activity, taking into account what the technology can do. So, part one is about computer support collaborative learning and affordance in educational technology. So, what do we mean by the term collaboration? Many people can say many different terms about what collaboration means. And of course, sometimes you may see the term cooperative learning, or collaborative work, or cooperative work. It depends on the context that you're going to use, and I know a lot of people here in Denmark use cooperation, but I think it would be good for you to know that there is a slight distinction. When we're talking about interaction, we're talking about any exchange of information. Interaction could be with a system, it could be with another person sitting in the same room doing something completely different. It could be germane or extraneous information, meaning something that has to do with a task or something that has nothing to do with the task, like when are we going to get coffee afterwards? This extraneous information, but it's still considered interaction. Cooperation is usually what happens when you give some material, some activity to the students, and then the students said, okay, I don't like you that much, I'm going to take this part, work individually, you do your own thing. A day before the deadline, we come together, we put it together in a document, send it, we collaborate it. This for us is cooperation, because it is actually a parallel process of two individual people working together. So, for example, when we're having the context of business or corporation, it's always cooperation, because every business do their stuff individually and very separately. But when we're coming to the learning part, what we were trying to do is to have collaboration, to have people working on the same task at the same time, maybe share some resources or share some material, but the interactions that happen between the people that collaborate in the same task are the interactions that we're looking for, because these interactions are actually the ones that promote learning. So I like the clicking sound. You're gonna get everything, and I think I'm on camera, so you don't have to write everything that I say. Again, cooperation and collaboration could be interchangeable terms, depends on your context. Some people, I know some people here refer to collaboration as cooperation, and they mean the same thing that I mean when I say collaboration. So it's a fine line. If it doesn't make sense to you, or if it's not relevant to your topic, it's okay. And just
actually, you're exactly hitting the spot on, because that's what we have been discussing for an hour.
Perfect.
Exactly these two things: cooperation, collaboration. So that's cool.
Now, the theoretical background for computer support collaborative learning comes from social constructivism, and you know this guy, right? He died quite young, actually. I didn't know that. I know he died like 38 or something. He said that we learn through our interaction with each other, but it's not just the interaction, it's also the culture or the context of the interaction, where the interaction happens. It's a different thing if it happens in Scandinavian country, if it happens in the Middle East, or if it happens in Greece. I know for a fact that people collaborate differently and they have different expectations when they're interacting with someone else. The goal of collaborative learning is usually, but not only, to share meaning or ideas towards a common understanding. When we're collaborating, we need to have a common ground. We need to have a common understanding and say, yes, we're both on the same page, we're working toward the same goal, and at the end, if we collaborate effectively, we're going to have the same roughly idea of what happened between the two of us to produce this task. And educational technology, all these machines and tools and services that we have invented lately, make interaction, sharing, and communication easier. And that is why they crept into the pedagogy, and that is why technology now is an integral part of our education. But does it always work, collaboration? I would say no. I know from my experience as a student, and I was a student 2 years ago, so it's not that long ago, that it doesn't always work. There must be some settings, there must be some requirements when you have people working together to actually work efficiently and come to you afterwards as a teacher and say, yes, we like working together. Because sometimes you're going to hear students probably say, no, we hate it, next time I would like to work alone. Why is that? Well, the main reason when collaboration does not work, it works, but when it does not work, is because productive learning interaction do not happen spontaneously. And there are many good reasons for that. What I mean by productive learning interactions. When we're talking with each other, or when we're exchanging information, or when we have a discussion about the task that we're dealing, we may also have interaction about extraneous things. Or, for example, I may ask a question to my peer and he doesn't know the answer. Or I ask him for his feedback or her feedback, and he gives me something completely superficial and just to move on. This is not productive interaction. So one reason why this happens is because the student does not know how to collaborate, because he has not been trained to do that. And you can expect different types of collaboration. If, for example, the metacognitive level of the students are high, for example, if you have two researchers that are supposed to collaborate as their professor, then of course you're gonna get two professors in the university and put them work together, write a paper or something, and they will find a way to collaborate because they have done this many times. They have the metacognitive skills, they have the cognitive skills to actually self-organize, self-regulate, and produce something that's collaborative. But if you go in a lower level, for example, if you go to an elementary school, the students do not always understand how to collaborate, because when you're collaborating, you're part of a team. So you have to self-regulate, you have to put rules on it, you have to monitor what you're doing. Have I done what's supposed to do for the other person to move on? And of course, we cannot expect that to younger age. So what everybody says in the research, and you will find that in every single paper about CSL, so I'm very confident when I'm saying that, you have to be supportive and you have to provide guidance to your students. I had a professor at some point that what he was doing was like having group assignments and with no guidance or something, expecting students of 6 or 7 people actually to work together efficiently in a project that lasted for 2 semesters. It's supposed to have project management, organization, coding, database management, internet communication, and all that. And I asked him, how do you know that everybody actually find a role there? How do you know that they are actually communicating effectively? And he said, I trust my student. So I stopped talking because he doesn't know what he was doing. You need to have guidance and you need to have support. You need to explain to them what it is expected when you're collaborating. And I'm going to present a little while what I mean. So there are many different approaches for scaffolding students when you're on computer support collaborative learning. I'm just mentioning some of them here is intelligent tutoring. And one example of intelligent tutoring is when you have an agent, like a machine, and you have 2 people talking on a chat or something like that. And the machine is programmed to understand what topic they're discussing. So, for example, I know that if 2 people are discussing about social constructivism, the name Vygotsky should come up at some point. If the machine finds out that we're not referring to him, he will ask us. He will put a question prompt. This is intelligent CSL. And the machine can actually guide the question to something that is relevant to the topic. So this is one, let's say, example of intelligent CSL. The second one is prompting. Machines gives you question prompts, and by answering the question prompts, you're actually having a discussion, not with a machine, but with the other people on the other side that is actually doing something similar. The third example that I have here, and I have it emphasized, is the one I'm going to talk today. It's scripting. And I'm going to talk about scripting, first of all, because I know a lot of things, because this was, or still is, my main research, but it is also the most common scaffolding approach. And the reason why it is the most common scaffolding approach is because scripting starts with instructional design. You don't need to have a super cool technology that will figure out what we're talking about and ask you questions. Scripting goes before you go into class. Scripting goes when you have a piece of paper and a pen and you write down what the students are going to do. This is the scripts that we're going to talk about today. A rough, let's say, explanation of the script is description. Describes the way students have to collaborate and how they have to interact, and it guides students, as we say, to fruitful interaction. But what are the components of a collaboration script? Let me check here. Yeah. This is one of the activities we're going to have later. So the first thing that you have to figure out when you're designing a collaboration script is the learning objective. In other words, what do you want the students to do? What do you want the students to learn, actually, not to do, to learn? Like, why are we collaborating? What's the main purpose of that? It could be to develop our argumentation skills, to develop our review skills, to reach further and understand deeper the content that we have or something else, which we really decide. The second one is the type of activities. This is actually the subtask. This is what the students are going to do. Are they going to talk to each other? Are they going to write something on a forum? Are they going to write something on a piece of paper? If they just take 5 minutes to think of something. All these are types of activities. The third one is sequence. Sequence means that when you're having a script, you have different phases. Like first, the students have to do that. Second, they have to do that. Third, they have to do that, and so on. So you have to figure out how many phases you're going to use. What is going to happen in every phase? What kind of activities that the students are going to do in every phase? And when can we say that one phase is done and now we can move to the next one? And there are many different choices for us to do that. For example, if you're using a system like an LMS or something, a phase could end when the students actually submit something back to me. This is the end of the phase. I got the document, I don't need anything else. Some people took 1 day, others took 1 week. The phase is over when I get the delivery. Another way to end the phase is, for example, to let students decide. You can have, we're going to be fine, right? Another thing is when you have people discuss, for example, you tell them this space is for you to talk for 5 minutes and come up with a compelling argument that you both agree. Some people can agree in 1 minute, some people may need 10 minutes. But the students can say, now we're ready, now we can move on. The teacher can actually draw a line and say, now the phase is over. When you ask, for example, the students to write a list of topics or things that they know and say, okay, you have written enough, you can move on. So again, it's for you to decide, but you have to have a clear idea. You have to know when the phase ends and what happens next. The fourth part is the role distribution. And this is very, very important. What we're trying to do now with the collaboration script is to orchestrate the collaboration experience. So what is going to happen when everybody's collaborating? It doesn't matter if you just have 2 people or you have a group of 5 or 6. It's good to have role distribution, which means that you need to tell the students not that you're going to do that and you're going to do that thing, but you have to tell them that one of you is going to do that and the other has to do the other thing. For example, you have to identify the roles that are needed in your activity. This doesn't mean that everybody has to do something different. You can have just one role, or you can have a complex role that everybody is following. For example, later I'm going to ask you to do a peer review, which means that you're going to write something and then you're going to review your peers. Everybody's going to play 2 roles, the author and the reviewer, and the roles are going to be common for everybody. I would have something different. This is also a very common script. You divide the class in half. One half is the authors, the other half is the reviewers. There you only play just one role. The thing is that you have to clarify what the role is going to be. So, and again, it doesn't mean that one student is only going to learn that and the other student is only going to learn the other thing, because in the next phase of the script, you can say, oh, now you exchange role. Now you're going to be the authors and now you're going to be the reviewers. You don't have to see it like you're separating. It's not cooperation. You're just identifying what is needed for the task to be complete. And the last component of the collaboration script is the type of representation. This is the easiest thing. This means that how you're going to present the collaboration script instructions or guidelines to the students. Is it going to be in a piece of paper? Is it going to be a post on Blackboard? Is it going to be a software system that actually materializes that? Because I come from a computer science department, what we had to do actually, this was our part, was to design and develop our systems. We did not use a blog, we had to build something, we had to write code for that, which means that we have the ability to create whatever we had in mind, which means that I don't have to tell them anything. I have put every instruction on my system, and the system will say, now fill this form. Now talk with them and fill this form. Now do that. Press that button and do that. I'm not expecting, of course, for you to do that. I'm just saying that this is another type of representation. The most common one will be the thing that you see here. It's just a printed piece of paper. This is a script. I have steps. I'm telling you what to do. And then I have a review template where I also tell you what to do in each step. So this is a type of representation. There are many different categories when we're talking about scripts, and different categories may apply to different needs. I like Swiss. I like Swiss for many different reasons, but it's something that is very effective in many different ways. Swiss, which is apparently not invented, but suggested by a Swiss team of researchers, is the acronym for split when interactions should happen. I like it because it's very easy for you to remember from now on. Split when interactions should happen. Why should I split? We said earlier that a common goal for collaborative learning is for people to reach a common understanding. But sometimes this happens very, very early, or it doesn't happen, but the students say that it did, because they would avoid conflict. I'm going to give you an example. You have people working individually on a topic, reading maybe the same material, and then you ask them their opinion about this topic. If you don't ask them to actually explicitly write down what they're thinking, the answer will be. It's very possible, I mean, it happened in the study that we had. The students that had to discuss without writing down first the initial response to the question, they agree right away because they avoid conflict. Like, let's say that Kiran is a different shade of blue. Yes, I agree, we also say blue. And when we move on. But if you make the initial responses explicit, then the gap between the initial positions are very obvious. So they need to discuss. What we suggest is actually, you can go further than that. You can actually divide the resources or divide the distribution, distribute the activity in such a way that no student can actually finish the task alone. Like that.
Yes.
And this is actually very applicable from what I understand to your situation, because you're going to give them many different tools. If, for example, we have a very tech-savvy person among your team, you can say, guys, I know that, I have used that, my little sister has that, and she plays that, I have to play with that all the time, I know what it does, let me handle it, you can go for coffee and go and design everything. But if you distribute the activity and have part of the system to one person, part of the system to the other person, or distribute the task like, let's say, you're going to do the design, I'm going to do the coding, which means that I cannot do coding if I don't know the design, and you cannot do the design if you don't know what I'm able to code about. Then you actually create a gap. Then you have people that they have to collaborate to actually finish the task together. And then collaboration comes as an answer to this gap. A very common example of a Swiss script is the jigsaw script. There are many different variations. I'm going to show you the most simple one. In the jigsaw script, in the first phase, we have the expert groups, which means that now you are 35 people. I can say, you are going to discuss this topic, you're going to discuss this topic, and you're going to discuss this topic. And you exchange information between your teams. So at the end of this phase, everybody in these three groups should have a level of knowledge when it comes to this topic. But then I will group you and take each one from each team and create these colorful themes, the mixed themes. And now I say, now you have three different perspectives of the actual topic. Now you can discuss and reach consensus. And now they really do need to discuss because, for example, I may have more information about technical stuff here, more about psychology here, and more about pedagogy here. And you know that if only one group, only one person in the group starts talking, of course you're not going to have full answer because you're going to miss an aspect. So what I created a gap. I gave you part of the information, and then I put you in a situation that you have to collaborate in order to bridge that gap. Jigsaw can go in many different levels. After that, you can still go back to your expert groups, for example, and say, guys, the other people are reading something completely different that we're saying. They have a completely different perspective, and you have to take that into account. Or you can break it and have an individual phase and then collaboration phase again. Doesn't matter. The main, is it becoming more yellow or is mine?
It is your eyes. So,
It's almost green.
yes, but
I don't know why it is, right? It's not
Yeah.
you.
no, if you can read it, it's fine. So this is the main example, let's say, about Jigsaw. You may stumble upon it in many different papers. Another mechanism around which we're actually having collaboration activities is the peer review. What I did not mention when I was talking about the script is that usually every script is evolving around the core mechanism, which means that there is this main topic, this main activity, the main task that can characterize our script. Like, yes, we're going to collaborate and we're going to have many different benefits from that, but what are we actually doing? And one other core mechanism, for example, would be to teach students how to do argumentation. Like, I don't know if you know Toulmin's argumentation model that says you have to have a warranty, you have to have some rules, and then you have to have an argument. I may engage students into learning argumentation. What is more common, actually, I think, is peer review. That's why it's also my focus. And peer review happens everywhere. Happens in forums when you're asking opinion about the new laptop that you want to buy. It happens in Blackboard when you have a fellow student commenting on your answer, what is wrong, what is right. It happens everywhere. But there are different parts of peer review that you may not get, and this is what I'm going to talk about. When you are doing peer review, you have extrinsic and intrinsic feedback. Extrinsic feedback is if your peers say, you know what, you're wrong here, or I would suggest to change that to make it better, or this is my comment, good effort, or something like that. This is extrinsic. This is something that comes to you from a peer. Intrinsic feedback is when you are reviewing someone. If you're reviewing a peer, you are actually reading what your fellow students actually thought of in the same task that you just did.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a different perspective. Like, I can ask you right now to take a test, and then after a while, I can change the seats and say, now you have to review your fellow students. And then you're gonna say, oh, she got it in a different way. She got a different perspective. She approached the matter in a different subject. This is feedback. I didn't give it to you. Your fellow student did not give it to you because he did not write it for you to write what he thought. Intrinsic feedback is when you have your initial position, like, this is what I'm thinking about, this is what I believe, and suddenly I'm thinking that 1, 2, or 3 peers of mine are here. So I understand that there is a difference, a distance between what I believe and what my classmates believe. So this actually may trigger me to move my initial position to something that others would say. May not, because I may be the stellar student in my class and I know that this is wrong. But still, it is kind of feedback. This is the intrinsic feedback. So one of the protocols that we have developed, I mean, my team in Greece, and this is what we're working on. We have the assigned pair protocol. The assigned pair protocol is the typical protocol that you're mostly familiar with. You just review just one other person. I think we agree that this is going to happen today. But what we have actually worked on, the green and the red arrows are the feedback back and forth. If you are actually allowed the students to freely select which peer work to review and which peer review to read, you are actually allowed them to get more increasing feedback. Because one other thing that we were supposed to do today, but we decided not to because it would take much time, will be if all of you send me my, again, if all of you send me your answers today, and then I share your answers with everybody, and I ask you, you can read and review whoever you like, it's double-blinded, so it doesn't matter, but you have to review at least one. What you're going to probably do is at least read a few other answers, not just one, not just the one that I randomly picked for assigned pair. You have to have an informed decision, like, what, because I could ask later, why did you choose this answer for you? So I kind of trick you into reading more. I'm going to give you everything, and I say, you can just randomly pick one, and then you're doing what I would have done if I had the assigned pair. You're allowed to do that, but you're not going to do that. I know that. Our results say that. You're not going to do that. You're going to read at least a few before you say, I'm going to review one. And then results say, you're not going to review just one. You're going to review more. And students do that. And other researchers with other studies find the same thing. Like, yes, I did one, but the one is minimum. So I'm going to do just one more, just to be safe. And of course, we have the good students that have a lot of time, they're very motivated, they can review 10 other peers. The thing is that with a free selection, eventually, you're going to have half of the answers read by everybody, and you have at least double the review, which means you have at least the amount of feedback produced. And the other thing is, because highly motivated students are usually, but not always, the higher level students, the better students, this means that these students actually submit more reviews. And because they're better students, usually the reviews are also better, which means with free selection, you're producing higher quality reviews than the assigned pair. So what we did is just dissolve the pair. We allow everything accessible to everybody, and the benefits were multiple. Before I go to the affordances, this concludes my presentation today about scripts. But scripts are a huge thing in CSCL. And by the way, I'm going to talk 4 hours more about scripts. So it's just a presentation for you to understand how collaboration could work if you have scripts. And we're going to do an activity later with scripts. But you have to have in mind when you're going to take this technology, and you have to think, how can we use it? If you have an idea, a nice idea, when you're brainstorming, write it down and follow it. But if you're stuck, this is what the presentation is today. First, you have to figure out what I want to listen, what I can listen to that. And after you figure that out, roles, phases, sequences, it will become much easier for you to understand the activity. So, since I'm finished with the scripts, now I'm going to talk about affordances. And this is the more technological part. This is, I think, maybe more useful for you since you're not coming from technology background, right? Yes. So, what do we mean by technology affordance? Well, that's fine, because if we ask 10 people, we're going to get 10 opinions. So I just wrote down a few terms that I found, like the interaction between users and tools affected by users' age and prior experience, strengths and weaknesses of technologies that can be offered to users, so strengths and weaknesses, the properties or functions of technology that extend our learning and perceptual capabilities, so something that can change me. The middle ground between deterministic and social constructivist perspective. I like that very much because only the guy that wrote it understood what happened. Like, yeah, this guy is not an engineer. And maybe that's why he's the only one that got it. But all of these terms are based in two initial terms by Gibson and Norman. Gibson said that it is what the tool offers, what it provides or furnishes, either good or ill, so what the technology can actually do. And then Norman, 10 years later, said is the perceived and actual properties of the thing. These are more similar. I don't know why these other people try to explain that by writing something that to me is more vague, actually. I think they're trying to put it in their own context. But for our sake, and based on these two terms, I think that what kind of functionality the designer of the technology says it to provide, and what the user perceives according to his or her needs for his or her own context. So let's say that we have the technological part and the perceived part, and others also mentioned that at some point. So what the technology actually do? A watch cannot solve a movie. Now it can, but usually a wristwatch cannot solve a movie, cannot play MP3, cannot do that. So the affordance is for it to solve the time. The perceived affordance is what I can use it for as a person. If I'm an adult, I have prior experiences, I can do many different things. I'm a younger person, I don't have that much experience, I can do other things, but I think differently. For example, the table is to lay stuff on top, but I can also sit there. This is not the affordance that the designer was going for, because otherwise it would make it softer, more economical. But still, if I don't have a chair here and I'm tired, I will sit there. So if you ask me, where can you sit if you're tired? I can sit on the table. It's good for me. It's a perceived affordance for me. So you have to understand, in one side, you're going to have all the technical stuff. Like you're going to open the suitcase with tools, with another tools. You're going to open the technology, the suitcase with technology, and then you're going to say, okay, what is this thing? Let's read the manual, let's go online, let's watch some YouTube videos. You should go there and do that, actually. These people say that it does this, this, and that thing. Okay, now, what my students will think of that? Will they get the idea, like, we can use that for many different things? You can, it's the robots, right? You can use it in many different things, like you can bring a beer, or you can move a toy, or you organize, or something like that. So then you have the perceived affordances, what you're going to think that you can do with the technology, but also, since you're designing a learning activity with these tools, what the students that are going to use this technology are going to be capable of. So these are examples of designer-specified affordances. It's the technology affordance. I just call them designer-specified. It's not a term that I want to pass to you. It's like someone has to design a system. This person actually has a list of requirements what the technology that we must do. So these are technical examples like the screen resolution, or the supporting video format, or the number of people that Skype can hold, or the search function in Adobe Reader, for example. And all this can be translated in ability to display such a movie, or such a photo, or something like that. Ability to play this kind of like MP4, or AVI, or DivX. Ability to concurrently support a group discussion, or a class discussion, something like that, ability to look for or search for, or find out. So all these are the technical affordances. These are the user perceived affordances. Like, yes, I can watch a movie without getting tired because the screen is big enough. You can say that you can watch a movie in a very small screen. The user will say, no, I will never use like a screen like that on an airplane to watch like 3-hour movie in that thing. It's not good for me, so I don't see the affordance there. But if it is a bigger screen, like a tablet, yes, it's good for me. I can watch a movie there. So it's not just what the designer says. If the user says, no, I cannot use it. I know it plays videos. I know that the video can last 3 minutes or 3 hours, but I'm not going to spend 3 hours there. So it's not good for me. I can watch a YouTube video on my phone. I can have a video call with all my family members. I can search the term I want to use. All these are perceived affordances. And of course, because they are perceived, they are different from different people. If you ask an older person, for example, with glasses and everything, if he can watch 3-minute video in a very small screen, they say, of course not. But students or young people are born with it. They're digital natives, we call them. They get used to watch or spend hours in small screens, so it's fine for them. We had an issue before the screens of mobile phones became bigger. We still had mobile learning, but it was so difficult to persuade someone to spend time there. So, as I mentioned, the perceived affordances mean that each user sees different things in a tool. And why? Because of the user profile. A tech-savvy person may think something different, or a creative person may think something different, or an artistic person may think something innovative to do with it. Prior experiences, I have seen someone else doing that, for example, or I had a class that someone did that for me, or the context. How can I use it? Like, yes, I can sit on a table, but if I open a restaurant, I never want to see someone sitting on a table. So this is not an affordance for me. Of course, I have to have chairs. So, I found a few videos that could give you an example of how different affordances can be conceived. And have you seen that?
Oh, the Norwegian
It's
one.
Norwegian.
Yeah, Norwegian, yeah.
Yes, Norwegian.
It's wonderful.
Should I watch it now?
Yes, yes. You decide.
Okay, so how would you describe a book to someone that has never seen one? Okay, there's only that and some find that thing.
Oh, so beautiful.
Ansgar? Ja, det er jeg. Ja, bra, ok. Hei du. Hei du. Ja. Ja, hva gjør du? Ja, det er det her. Ja. Ja. Ja, så det, jeg har ikke fått gjort noen ting hele formiddagen. Nei, jeg er klar. Jeg skal holde meg på en gang. Ja. Så du kommer ikke inn i den, eller? Nei, den ligger der. Har du forsøkt å åpne den? Åpne den, altså hvis det hadde vært så enkelt, så hadde jeg vært tilkalt helpdesk, hadde jeg vel? Nei. Skal du stoppe en sånn? Nei, da skal jeg fortsatt. Ja, vi ser. Så bare gjør der. Sånn. Ja, da er vi i gang. Ja, så langt kom jeg altså. Ok. Ja, men så stoppet opp, og så var jeg redd for at det skulle forsvinne, så jeg turte å gå videre. Åja, ok. Da mener du skjønner at inni her, så ligger det kanskje flere 100 sider med lagret tekst. Så for å komme videre, så tar du tak i et ark, her, så blar du over på neste side sammen, da fortsetter teksten her. Det blar, altså? Blar, ja. Men jeg skal tilbake da. Ja, det bare blar du tilbake igjen. Ta tak der. Der, så er du tilbake til den teksten du hadde sammen. Ok, så den slutter der, Og så fortsetter den der, ja. Men når jeg skal avslutte dagen, hva gjør jeg da? Da slår du sammen permene. Ja. På den måten der. Sånn. Der ligger alt lagret inni der. Altså, jeg risikerer ikke å miste noe av teksten her. Nei, alt ligger lagret inni der. Ja, men det blir tilfelle setter fyr på, eller det er kanskje litt sannsynlig. Ja, ok. Nei, for det er noe med at når du har holdt på med skriftruller, ja, så tar det litt tid å konvertere seg og bla i en bøk. Ja, ja, men før det går. Jeg må bare gå igjen en gang til. Altså, jeg åpner sånn, og så, hva du kaller det? Jeg blar igjen tilbake, og når jeg skal være ferdig, så bare lukker jeg den. Flott, det er kjempefint. Ja, men du, vent, ikke sant? Nå er det sånn igjen, nå får jeg ikke åpnet den. Så det er ikke riktig, det her sammen. Der nå. Bra, Frey. Har du ikke tenkt på det? Ja, jeg skal følge med sånn normale som bruker meg det. Åja, i den, ja. Ja, men ikke at det er noe samme problemet.
Actually, what happened with the manual is what happened many years ago, actually, with Windows. Sometimes you get a message like, no keyboard was found, press delete to enter setup. Yeah, no keyboard was found. How should I press delete? Okay, we're there. We're just before our break, so I'm gonna show some videos. So same topic, but you're from a tech savvy perspective. This is the IKEA catalog.
Yeah.
Still, we're gonna see it. Right? Yeah, the book.
You know, once in a while, something comes along that changes the way we live. A device so simple and intuitive, using it feels almost familiar.
I'm talking about affordances.
Introducing the 2015 IKEA catalog. It's not a digital book or an e-book. It's a book. The first thing to note is no cables, not even a power cable. The 2015 IKEA catalog comes fully charged, and the battery life is eternal. The interface is 7.5 by 8 inches, but can expand to 15 by 8 inches. The navigation is based on tactile touch technology, which you can actually feel. Content comes pre-installed via 328 high-definition pages of inspiring and furnishing items. To start browsing, simply touch the button. Right to left to move forwards, left to right to move backwards. Notice something else? That's right, no left. Each crystal clear page loads instantaneously, no matter how fast you scroll. If you want to get a quick overview, just hold it in the palm of your hand and using just your thumb, speed goes to content. If you find something you want to save for later, you can save your bookmark. And even if you close the application, you can easily find the bookmark again. Amazing. What about multiple users? For that, we've introduced a simple color-coding system to avoid confusion. If you want to share a particularly inspiring item, you literally share it. Another special feature is password protection, which is voice activated. Excuse me, that's mine. At IKEA, we feel that technology, this life-enhancing, should be in the hands of everyone. So the 2015 IKEA catalog is free. You can download one from your mailbox, the one you open with the key. If it's not there, try to refresh the next day. Or you can upload yourself to the IKEA store and find one there. Experience the power of a book.
Actually, that's a brilliant video because here's so many different affordances and Some of them are really thoughtful, like the expandable interface. This is what we're trying to do with the screens that are stretched. So it could be an activity for you right now. I have an activity later for you. And you've seen that also. Innovation may come from either creating new technology or using the old one in a new way. And this happens all the time around us. Tools that we have been using for a long time now, they have a different application somewhere else, and now we have something innovative. This is the cutting board.
Sag mal, Papa, habe ich dich noch gar nicht gefragt. Wie kommst du eigentlich mit dem neuen iPad zurecht, was wir dir zum Geburtstag geschenkt haben?
Gut.
Sag mal, Papa, habe ich dich noch gar nicht gefragt. Wie kommst du eigentlich mit dem neuen iPad zurecht, was wir dir zum Geburtstag geschenkt haben?
Gut.
Bei den ganzen Apps kommst du klar?
Was denn für Apps? Geh mal bitte nicht viel zur Seite. Was denn?
So actually what the guy did was what Apple said with the new Gorilla Glass 2. Actually, you can cut something that, which is actually false, because at some point in another project I had been using something SUR40. It's a big table, it's a touchscreen, it's the biggest Gorilla Glass it's on the market. It's Gorilla Glass 2, it's supposed to be like unbreakable. A little girl scratched it with her nail. So yes, you cannot do that. So other examples about how perceived affordances actually can change the way we're thinking about technology. I'm going to give you 2 examples here, and I had thought of another one. You can use the Wi-Fi SSID on your local network to broadcast a message. Do you know what this SSID is? Yeah. So if you go, take your cell phone out and search for the local Wi-Fi available, like the local networks available, you're going to see names. This is the SSID. Like you're going to see eduroam. Eduroam is a name. You can see like my network, something like that, or Pantelis Wi-Fi, don't touch that, or something like that. So this is the SSID. This is the name of the network that you're going to give. You have that at your home. When you set up your router, you have to give a name so you know where to connect. So what people actually did was that even if I don't have an active internet connection, I have a machine that can broadcast something. My cell phone is broadcasting, for example, if I use Bluetooth, I can broadcast the name of my cell phone so that you can find it and connect to it. So I have a system that broadcasts. Why? Because you need to know my broadcast network so you can connect to me. But it's not just that. I may not want you to connect there, but I want to send the message. And this is what happens, especially in Greece or in Qatar, Middle East, all the time. Like you're just writing something about like Denmark plays against Portugal, and then you change your SSID to go Denmark. So the whole neighborhood actually now can say, oh, well, Denmark. And then you write something bad. You don't know who wrote it, but now you can exchange messages. Now you're using something that's supposed to do a completely different job to exchange messages. This is what happened back in the day when we were using CB, like the, how do you call it, like not microphone, like what the trackers have. Yeah, something like that, where everybody can receive you, but you don't know who you're talking to. Something like that. It's the same idea, let's say. So this is an example of how recursive affordance can change the use of technologies. Something that also happened, I don't know if you use it here in Denmark, I haven't seen it. The unanswered call on the cell phone. Like, I'm gonna call you, I'm gonna pick you up in like 10 minutes. When I'm there, I'm gonna give you an unanswered call, which means that I let it ring one and hang up. Hang up. It's like I'm gonna ring your bell. We use that in Greece all the time. Like, oh, he got me. So it's like I need to call him back, or I know that he's gonna come by. So the minute I saw his name, because now I have call recognition. Oh, he called me, so he must be down there. So instead of him going out of the car, going to my building, ring my doorbell, it would be the same thing, because the doorbell doesn't say anything different than a tone. Maybe, who is it? It's me. Come down. So we use that in Greece and many other places. The unanswered call. I'm gonna let it ring once and hang up.
Okay.
You don't really.
No.
We text.
Yeah, we don't have to.
Now we will do it all the time.
So yeah, this happens all the time. Or even you're drunk. It's 3 o'clock. You just do that, like ping you, like, oh, I was thinking of you. I don't have anything to say. So this is a technological perceived affordance. And the non-technological perceived affordance that can change things is what we, I think you do that here.
Yeah, we do that. I do yes.
Yeah, table or a chair is like that. You take a piece of paper. Why? Because the piece of paper doesn't cost much. It's foldable, it's cheap, soft, you can use it there, it doesn't hurt or do anything, and balance the tables. So no paper production company said, yeah, that would be good for balancing tables, but this is what everybody does. So this is a perceived affordance.
Ah, that's a good point.
Good.
You and I got the point.
So this is a short activity, and I think afterwards, yes. Afterwards, we can have a break. Write down, let's say 2 minutes. Examples like the two that I showed you. Write down an example of innovative usage of common tools. You get 1 point for every correct answer. If your answer is about technology, you get 2 points. You have 2 minutes. You really don't do that answer code.
No. It's a great thing.
Oh, I told you we don't have any money there. There is another thing that happens. I was in Qatar before coming here. One more minute. You writing? Okay, let's finish up. So, how many? First of all, how many did you write? Like, say numbers. How many did you get? 2. 3. 1. 5. Could you tell us?
Newspaper hockey.
Paper hockey.
Newspapers.
Yeah.
All around the world. Some with, for instance, brooms.
Yeah.
And there's another use for newspapers, fly swatter. Pencil to roll up a cassette tape. Using a frying pan as a weapon.
Okay, you get 5 points. You don't have any technology there.
No.
But you get 5. Someone that has a technology.
I was just thinking that in my classroom, when I gave homework to the kids, instead of writing it down, they use their smartphone to take a picture. I don't know that.
Yeah, okay. But it's still kind of what technology is all about.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. What is it about?
I mean, they take photo, and we used to write down it. I mean, right now you're recording it.
Yeah.
That's still a video, it's still a recording. You can say that it's not the pedagogical affordance that I would suggest. I would prefer if you pay attention instead of recording it, and you're gonna pay attention later. But still,
You talked about sharing information on this SSID.
yes.
I came to think about the old ship, Radio Mercur in Denmark.
It's a radio station on a ship in Denmark.
Ah,
Way
Because
back.
it was illegal, it had to be out in international waters.
Ah, okay.
Way back in the 50s, huh?
So what was that?
It was a boat in international waters sending broadcasting to Denmark. Radio Mercur. Mercur was the name of the station. It's, yeah.
Car tires as swings.
Swings.
A car. Use them for swings in Denmark.
Car tire.
The tire.
Ah, the car tire. Yeah. That's true. That's nice. Yeah. Okay, so you got the idea a little bit, right? You can use it as intended on the manual, but you can throw the manual away after you've read it to do something completely different. You have to think of that when you're going to receive the tools in the suitcase. You have never used it before. They're quite innovative. Some of them are really simple, which means that you can do whatever you want with them. So the most important thing is for you to be creative, because the technology is as creative as it can be. For example, they can make it just like 2 things, creating a circuit. That's it. Doesn't happen. That's the only thing that does. Now you have to figure out how to connect it and what to do with it and what kind of affordances you can find out.
You could also say that when they have been using Google Hangout, you could ask the same question: could you find an innovative way to use Google Hangout that Google hasn't solved?
Yes. Yep.
I think kids does it all the time. I gave my son this small electronic where you could put all kinds of lightning stuff together, but he was just changing it or using the engine as a head and then like gluing stuff on it, and it was not lightning at all. It's not electrical at all. It's just using it for.
If you try Googling life hacks,
Yes.
you get a lot of interesting answers.
Yes.
My father was a craftsman, said that any good craftsman should be able to open a beer with anything but a red sausage.
Yeah.
I don't know why the color mattered, but to him it did.
I've seen that happen here. I've seen people often
Red
build those
sausage?
with no. Yeah.
But it's the same mindset.
Yes.
So, got me thinking about the video you gave us with Robinson, changing the educational paradigms, where he gives us an example of the paperclip, and then how small children can think of so many uses for it, while we adults will think, well, that's what happened here. Well, I can think of maybe one, but they would think maybe 100 uses, basically. They could turn it into a huge giant foam paperclip or something.
Actually, one of the main mantras in human-computer interaction is always know thy user. If you have a target group that you're going to use the technology, go and ask them. part of the game. You have to know what they're gonna think. And you say, yeah, okay, this could work. They said that, so they thought that, and their peers will also be able to think likely. So I'm gonna do that. If you have, for example, high school kids or elementary kids, or I don't know in which context you're going to use it, take the tool to them and say, this is what it does, what you can do with it. This is what everybody does. This is part of the design process. You have to know your users. So, of course, you can go nothing. We can have a break here. It's, let's say, be back up 2:20.
People are in those kinds Den vildeste oplevelse af firma, som laver ingenting, men får 5% af som alle andre. De tjener kassen på at lave ingenting.
So, the second part okay. The second part of today's lecture is actually for you to see a different way, a different actual methodology actually on how to analyze the e-learning affordances of the group and how you can jumpstart your project. I was planning to actually show you two research papers. The one is already online, I'm going to send you the other one really soon. But we don't have that much time, and my goal was first to show you this paper titled Affordant. Affordant analysis matching learning tasks with learning technologies. I was going to show you that, and then I was going to show you another paper where these guys are doing an affordance analysis on a very real topic. But I think for the time being, it's better if I stick to that and then leave you the rest of the time to do the actual affiliate. So what we're going to get out of this paper is a design methodology for matching learning tasks with learning technologies. This is important for you because at some point you have to think of what kind of activities the students are going to do. And then you're going to have the technology on the other side. And you don't have a method at this point that will link the two. Like, yes, I have a blog. What can I do with a blog that I cannot do with a wiki or a forum or something like that? So This guy, Matt Bauer, actually thought hard on the subject and came up with 11 e-learning technology affordances. Before we go any further, the 35, so it should be fine. We can share this. These are the learning affordances that he came up with, and on the back of the paper, you can see how he organized that. Anyway, I'm going to present it right now. So first of all are the media affordances, like the type of input and output form, such as text, images, audio, and video. Like what can it do? Can it show text, can show images, can show audio, I can listen to something, I can watch to something. All these are the media affordances. Pretty straightforward, pretty easy to understand. You have a tool. Can it display text? Can it display? Can I watch a video there or something like that? Number two is the special affordances. The ability to resize elements within an interface, move and place elements within an interface. Can I move parts from different things? I know the tools that you're gonna use in the suitcase maybe are not applicable for number two, but still, the activity that we're going to do today is, because in the activity that we're going to do today, you don't have to think of what you're going to get later. You can think of an activity about the tool that you're already using, like social media, or a wiki, or a forum, or a special software that you're using. So special affordance is about if I can resize or I can move part in my interface. Number three is the temporal affordances. Access anytime, anywhere, ability to be recorded and played back, synchronous versus asynchronous. This is also quite important. All the synchrony have to be there. What kind of freedom do I have? Can I play it back at the point that I want? Can I watch it later? All these things matter, especially if you're gonna do an activity where you're in a place and then you have another team in a different place. And a few words about synchronous and asynchronous. We used to say, for example, in computer science that, yes, if you have an online chat, this is synchronous, but if you have an email, this is asynchronous, which does not apply anymore. And maybe it wouldn't apply back then either. We just have more information now. We were saying that chatting is synchronous because the other person has to be there to actually chat back. And we say email is asynchronous, not because the technology cannot provide the same affordance, but because we expect the other person to read it at some point and respond to his own or her convenience. Because there is a study that says that actually, if you're trying to chat from Denmark to England, the time that emails take to reach there is shorter than the time that chat needs to go there. So actually, email is faster. And if you have a person that emails you back right away, you can have, now you have, for example, Gmail as a different template, and you can have a discussion in the email. So why can I not use Gmail for a discussion? Of course you can. Of course it's synchronous now. It's the way you use it. It's like mentally, if I'm gonna ask something from cloud, I'm gonna send an email, and then at some point I'm gonna expect his answer with attachments or anything. But I can do that with a chat also. Like I can send him a Facebook chat saying that please send me that thing. So synchronous and asynchronous is again a matter of perspective and a matter of your context. I think you should know by now that I have said perspective and perceived so many times that I must get into your head that whatever a technology can do is what you think that the technology can do. Right? So you have to think of that when you're trying to use the technology. Navigation affordances. Capacity to browse to other sections of a resource and move back and forth capacity to link to other sections within the resource or other resources, ability to search and sort and sequence. What my tool is able to do. For example, we had a discussion in my center at some point. We're using Google Class to communicate and present stuff to each other, but it's not appropriate for archival material. Why? I'm not going to lose my posts there. They're going to be there even after I die. Why? Because there is not an efficient search mechanism or organizational function that will allow me to have all the posts that are on one topic there, or all the posts that have attachments there, or something like that. So for me, Google Plus is not good if I want to have like a file repository or something like that, although I can still post files on Google Plus. Emphasis affordances. Capacity to highlight aspects of resources explicitly direct attention to particular components. I'm going to give you an example about that. In computer science, we have what we're called pair programming. We have two people programming at the same time, and this is good because you have less mistakes making while you're typing. So this happens in real time, and sometimes you want to show something to the guy, like you may have like 1,000 lines of code, but you just want to point into one direction. You can just highlight them, and the highlight will appear to him as well. So this is a function that's very crucial for that. You may also need something like that, like to point the direction in something specific, either by moving the mouse, circling something, writing something down, like put an arrow or something like that. All these belong to the emphasis affordances, and again, if you really need it, like if you're gonna share documents, for example, between the two groups, and you need one group to discuss with the other on a specific topic, maybe it's important for you to be able to emphasize a specific part instead of saying, now go to page 37, and we're there, good. Now is the third paragraph, third line here. See, good. Yeah, this is not the emphasis affordance that you would expect from technology. Number 6, synthesis affordance. Capacity to combine multiple tools together to create a mixed media learning environment. The extent to which the functions of tools and the content of resources can be integrated. This is what you're going to do, actually, because you're going to use probably many different tools for collaboration, for communication, for interaction, for production, for whatever. So how can we use it? And another example would be a mashup, where you get, I'm going to take a block here, and then I'm going to put a newsfeed there, and I'm going to have a space for chatting, and I'm going to have a blog post, I'm going to have a forum. So all these systems, all these tools that I just mentioned, they have the synthesis affordance. They can be used in collaboration with other things. I can post something, I can put a link, I can click on the link, it is posted on another medium. I can like something here, I can have it as a recommendation in different media. So all these are synthesis affordances. Number 7, access control affordances. Capacity to allow or deny who can read, edit, upload, download, broadcast, view, administer the resources. Capacity to support one-on-one, one-to-many, many-to-many contributions and collaboration. We're going to have to think of that as well. One-on-one, it's okay if one means a group, and you have a group in one space, and then you have another group in another space. But maybe you also need to think of one-to-many or many-to-many. So whatever you think and who's doing what, and you have to think back to the collaboration scripts, like you have to have roles. If you give a single task to a group of 5 without telling them now, do it, and they say, well, I can do it, why all the rest need to work with me? It's like simple. You have to think how to orchestrate the collaborative activity. Number 8, 9, and 10 are usability affordances. These are affordances that kind of outside your reach. This has to do with the human-computer interaction part, and this is more about what the technology is. So, for example, aesthetics, you cannot change the aesthetics of a forum. This is what it is, you cannot exchange Sparky. You can dress it up, but it's still going to be Sparky. So, number 8, technical affordances. Capacity to be used on various platforms with minimal or reduced underlying technology, ability to adapt to bandwidth of connection, speed, and efficiency of tools. You cannot change that because you're not going into the technology to change that. If you were on computer science, I would say do it. For example, on YouTube, you can watch videos and suddenly, during watching the video, if the speed, your speed of your internet connection gets lower, then the quality gets lower, so the video will keep playing without keeping a beat, but the images are going to be a little bit blurry. This happens automatically by the YouTube algorithm, and you cannot change what you're going to receive in that perspective. You just need to know that. Usability. Intuitiveness of tool is with which user can manipulate tool to execute its various functions relates to efficiency. So, for example, if you're going to use Makey, you cannot change how usable it is because it depends on how the students are going to see it. If they think that it's very easy for me to understand what's happening, it's intuitive, it's fine. But if it's not, this is what you have to deal as a fixed constant in your design. Number 10 is the aesthetics, appealing of design, appearance of interface, relates to user satisfaction, ability to hold attention. You may be able to work a little bit here. As I said, you can dress up Sparky. You can put a sticker there, or you can put a hat, or you can cover the cables of Make so that it will not be visible, or something like that. You can work your way around it, but the actual tool will remain the same, which means the interface and the software that may carry it is going to be the same. Reliability, robustness of platform, system perform as intended, whenever required. This is out of anybody's hands. Like, if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, usually we don't know why.
Is that not the same as technical? No?
Switch it off and switch it on again. No, this is reliability. Like a cell phone should be able to call other people. But today my phone is acting up, I cannot call anybody. Take the battery out, put it in, it works. Technical affordance is, as I said, capacity to be used on various platforms, minimal videos, and blah, 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 ability to adapt to bandwidth connection. Various platforms means that I can use software, I can use a forum, and I don't care if it's going to be seen in a laptop screen or in a smartphone or something like that. For example, most of the websites today have a different style if you're going to watch them on smartphones. The letters are going to be different, the colors may be going to be different, and only the important interactive parts of the interface are visible. If you're going to post something on a real forum and you're going to see the real website on your phone, it's going to be very small. You have to like zoom in all the time, scroll, okay, I found the button, I press the button, oh, it's the next button. So this is not good for me. So it will have a problem with technical affordance. But reliability means that the database is down. I'm trying to post something and it says like file corrupted or something like that. And yes, as I said, the last four, and there is a line in the printout that you received, the last four categories are not functional from an educational point of view. So it's not that you don't have to care about it. It's like you cannot do much about it. The effectiveness with which a tool or interface delivers or signifies these last four affordances categories relates to the usability of the system rather than educational potential. So there is one more categorization about static, instructive, or collaborative. Like all these affordances that I just mentioned, where do they fit and what should I look for in a learning activity? So the guy actually did a great job and categorized the affordances that I just mentioned. Everything that I just mentioned is here is on the back of the paper that you received. So I know, for example, now that if I'm going to use something, an activity, and I need collaboration, I have to find tools that are going to be able to support the affordances that I have on the right column. Okay, so now I have a pattern. I have a method now. I have a way that I can organize my thought if I don't know where to start from. I know that focusability, for example, is what I was saying. Like I need to be able to tell to the other person where to look. Or if I want to draw something, like a Google Draw or something like that, can be used for collaboration. And these are just 7 because the next 4 I told you is not about educational affordances. So this is missing. So you have the first 7, and you have the 2 columns between individual and collaborative. And now you have the design methodology. The first thing that you have to do is identify the educational goals, what you want the students to learn after that. Postulate suitable tasks, which means that, okay, I want the students to know to learn that. How are they going to do that? You have to find tasks, and by performing these tasks, the students should be able to get the knowledge that you are targeting for. Number 3, determine the affordance required for the task. Okay, I want the students to learn this, and I'm going to ask them to do these 3 tasks to learn this. And each of these 3 tasks have different affordances. The first one means this, the second one is this, the third one is this. You're doing that by analyzing, by thinking. It's perceived affordances also, I told you that. Number 4, determine the affordance available. Okay, I know what I need. What do I have? Let's look back at the tools that I have. And again, technical and perceived. So I have one more. Don't take photos here. You're gonna have the photo. Take photos now. So you have to determine what kind of affordances actually you're provided with. And again, it's part technical, part perceived. And the last one, now that you have both, you can see if there is a match. You can see if I have the tools for the task that I need, or if I need to change the task, or if I need another tool. Okay? This is what I said in this thing. And this is the second paper, which I'm going to skip right now. It's online. You can read it. I was going to explain to you what they're saying, and this is some of the affordances that they were looking for, like like finding information, sharing pictures, entertainment. Entertainment could also be an affordance, right? And this is it for this thing. So we have 15 minutes probably. So what we're going to do now is, it's actually the assigned pair.